Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the Education Abroad Alnwick podcast. My name is Camille, and I have been to Alnwick 3 times.
I'm Holly, and I've been to Alnwick once.
And we are here to talk to you guys about some firsts and kind of what it looks like leading up to the program and kind of what to expect on your first day.
Yeah.
So, prep for the program, what did that look like for you?
Well, so for us, we went together spring of 22. So we were the first big group after COVID. So our pre-departure orientation was online on Zoom. But while we were there, we got to kind of learn the general class schedule for the day of here, if you're taking all of the classes in the castle, here's what your day is going to look like. A brief overview of what some of the travel field trips were going to be, and then just I think some packing advice while we were in there. That was a lot of it.
Yep. And so like Holly said, a lot of our experience was shaped by COVID. So what we experienced might be a little bit different than what you all will experience. Hopefully we don't go through another major pandemic again. No. This is 2024, crossing your fingers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our pre-departure will look pretty similar to yours. You'll be getting all the same information, just the style in which you receive it might be different. You might be doing it in person. You might be doing it online. You might be doing it as makeup, watching, I think, the video that I made. So you might be seeing more of me at some point. But pre-departure orientation is exactly that. You get sometimes to hear global mentor panel experiences. You'll get to meet the other people in your program. Get some good info, what to expect, what to bring, packing advice. So what were some things that you packed that you wish you had, or things that you hadn't?
I know the big thing that I had while over there that was everyone used it towards the end was a luggage scale.
Yeah.
Everybody used that luggage scale, and I almost didn't bring it because I was like, I'm not going to need this. Right. No, I did need it, and so did everyone else. So that was really nice. But two things that I didn't pack while going over that I also probably should have. One was good walking shoes, because you're going to be doing so much walking that you need to have a really good pair of walking shoes. And then the other thing, which we, at least from what I remembered, we were kind of encouraged to not buy raincoats, because you could pick them up while over there. They have so many in the charity shops in Alnwick that we were kind of told, don't get a raincoat over in the US because it's not going to be as good as the ones in Alnwick. So that was two big things that I had to get while over there.
Yep.
So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And that's the thing about shoes is, bring a good pair that you will be wearing every day. But then in the charity shops, buy a bad pair that you won't be afraid to get dirty, because
you're gonna be
pastures are mucky. And I wore my Converse, or no, my Vans. Yeah. My Vans, and I
think you did one walk in them.
Yep.
And then you were like, let's.
And I stepped in some mud, and it sucked the shoe right off my foot. And I was like, all right. Granted, they weren't high tops; they were just the slides. So. That was a moment I was like, all right, we got to go to the
shops, get a cheap pair of sneakers.
Yeah. Yep. And then I also got a pair of proper boots. Because again, it just is so mucky. Sometimes you're going to want those crappy tennis shoes, and sometimes you're going to want those boots. And I also got my rain jacket.
Over there.
Yeah. And you can find them pretty cheap. I actually liked mine so much I kept it.
I left mine, and I wish I hadn't done that, because now it's kind of miss it. But
mine was a nice navy blue, and it was really thin though. That was my only problem. Was it was not very warm, and the jacket that I had brought didn't have a hood, and I'm not big on hats. So what I did, when I did wear it, I would have to layer up. But maybe that was one thing.
Slippers. I think some girls brought slippers. I brought slippers, and I loved them because they were so nice for in the castle to just wear them and walk around and not have to put on shoes.
Yep.
So
I had some slides that I got at Walmart. So I used those, and then Yeah, those served me pretty well, and I still wear them here. So
Yeah.
yeah, they've held up pretty good. But I didn't bring a carry-on luggage. I only had my backpack.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one of the nice things, but also kind of the that's the thing. I knew that everything in my main suitcase at the end of the trip would have to go back in that main suitcase.
Yeah.
And then I picked up like an overhead, one of those little rolly suitcases
While over
in Alnwick, and that was for strictly my souvenirs. I
yeah.
fit every single souvenir in there. So that's one of the things that I do tell students is pack and empty. You know, if you're going to bring one of those roller suitcases, one of those carry-ons.
Try to make it mostly empty.
Yeah, like 100% empty, because then you know whatever you brought over has to fit in that checked luggage. But there's nothing wrong with having to buy a second suitcase.
No.
There is nothing. No, I would say do not. Some people are like, well, should I ship it back?
It's so expensive.
You're going to pay, you know,
an arm and a leg and
so, yeah. So then let's talk about the airport experience.
Yeah.
So for us, before we get any further, one of the biggest takeaways was that the airport experience was very important for us, because it's really when we got to know the rest of our program members. We were all in it together. We were all traveling over there together. Granted, there's 2 or 3 who met us at the castle separately, and you definitely saw those groups forming, got to know each other. What did you like? What do I like? So yeah, that was a big, on my second program. So I went for the spring 2022 semester. I came back to the States for a month, and then I went back over on a summer 6 to 7 to 8 week program. And I had been asked if I wanted to fly out early for my second program, but I decided to fly out with the rest of the group program, because from that first experience, I knew how important it was to get to know everybody. Yeah. Versus, you know, granted, you can still get to know everyone.
Yes. People.
Yeah. So if you're coming in late, it would be like, oh my God, I'm never going to connect with anybody. It was just, you know, it's kind of like, I don't want to call it trauma bonding, but it kind of was.
Because you really do. You show up at the airport, at least for us. We had some people from St. Cloud State. They met us there, and they gave us like our packets, and they basically were like, do not lose this packet because it has your entire life, like right here for the next 4 months is right here.
Yeah. So like Holly said, when you show up to the airport, an SCSU Education Abroad faculty program director, whoever it might be, will meet you there, kind of group you all together. You'll be given your airport packets with your information, some of which you may end up needing to check in, some of which you may not, but could come in handy at some point when you're over. And then, you check in, and then you all end up in waiting.
And then there's like just what? I think for us, there was 15 of us.
Yeah.
15 of us over just all in a big group together.
Airport,
just being like,
so we all found tables.
We're all here together now.
Yeah. Once we got on the physical plane, we had some delays in leaving. So there was some kind of nervousness about connecting
flights.
Meeting our connecting flight, and because we did have a layover in Amsterdam, which is pretty typical when you're going over or even coming back. I think we had
a layover in Amsterdam twice.
Yeah, we're coming back too.
Yeah. And I know when we were over there, because we weren't the oldest on our program,
right?
But we were 2 of the older people flying over in that instance, and so we both had self-appointed jobs getting over there, where you were getting us where we needed to go, and I was in charge of counting everybody to make sure we had like the 15 people that we needed on our group. So that was.
So at various times, especially once we got to Amsterdam, at various times, like
we would count
off the plane. Yeah, we counted everybody, and then you had to get up on a bus to the next terminal. So then we counted everybody there, and then just running, trying to figure out where
everyone's got their bags and
everyone's got all their stuff. Just trying to make sure that we get to our gate wherever that, because again, I never been to the Amsterdam airport. I obviously am pretty familiar with MSP. And then we ended up waiting there for like
it was like an hour. We were just all sitting in line, just being like,
and your backpack is so heavy at that point.
Oh my gosh, very, very heavy.
Okay, so obviously, then we land. We get to Newcastle.
Wade met us outside, or he met us somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Or was it no? Because he did meet us somewhere, and then
he met us
the bus.
Yeah, he met us at the airport. Yep. And then he got us on the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had already met Wade in 2019. Granted, it had been a long time from then and there.
Yeah.
And we hadn't seen each other since, so I already knew what he looked like. And it was exciting to see him again. Wade was perfect.
We love
he
Wade.
Was brilliant.
Yes.
And very welcoming.
Yes.
So then we got on the bus. And,
so tired.
Well, and it's just exciting.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing the countryside. You get on the A1 and you're getting to see kind of England.
Yes. But for the first time. And you're like, oh, I'm actually here.
Yeah. It's finally kind of hitting you, because if you, at some points you can kind of pretend that it is Minnesota.
Yeah.
There are some similarities in the landscape, but then there are some points where it's like, no, this is England.
This is England.
The grass was green.
Yeah. I mean, you're like,
the entire time.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have snow. So that was really weird. Was in January having green grass.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And just being like, oh.
That was really weird. You just don't expect there to be green grass. You know, you just think that
everywhere's brown and sad.
Yeah, in Minnesota, or white, completely white in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But
nope.
over there, I mean, it was green grass. But what were your first impressions of the castle?
So my first impressions, we went up like the back way, or like the pretty way.
Yep.
So I was excited. I was also very tired.
Yes.
I know the outside of the castle, it looks really cool. At least the way that we went up.
Yep.
We went up.
We did the scenic
pastures way. So it was very cool to see all of like the scenery in front of the castle, and then to see the castle itself. And you're like, oh, that's a castle.
You're excited.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm actually here.
Yeah. You're not in the middle of nowhere like you assume, but you still get that rural experience. Kind of feeling and experience from all the pasture and stuff surrounding it. But yeah, when I was there in 2019, we came up from London, and we took the train to Alnwick station, and then we got a taxi from Alnwick to the castle. So I came up through the city and was dropped off outside the castle wall. So I had not seen the castle yet. You can't see the castle over the castle wall.
Yeah.
And my mom is just in tears, excited that we are here. This is the first time she's been back in, maybe 20 years. And she's like, oh my God, we're here. And I'm like, great. I'm looking around and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then we walk through the Barbican, and the doors open for the first time, and you see the castle. And even being there again in 2022, or again when I got back, or every day we came back from a trip, I think that feeling never fully changes when those doors open and you see the castle.
We're here.
It's honestly, it's an emotional experience for me, because I did fall so in love with it. And just all the history and stuff and everything that it means to me. But yeah, every time I think about it, I get chills. And I remember.
I know.
And when we got there, I think it was it sunrise? Because I just remember the castle being gold.
Yeah, I remember that too. It was very. I don't know if it was quite sunrise, but the sun was hitting it. Like just nicely, right where it looked like it was.
Kind of a golden hour. Yeah, it's crazy. It was gorgeous.
Very pretty.
Very exciting to be there. Obviously, I was excited for everyone else.
Yes.
Because I knew what to expect. I'd been there before. I knew how quickly you fall in love with it.
Yeah.
So I was just, as much as I was taking it in, I was also looking at everybody else and watching them, kind of experience it for the first time too. So on my second program, we landed in Edinburgh, and my professor, Heidi Everett, had asked me, how does it feel to be back? And I told her, it feels like I'm home. I had told everybody in the airport on my program that I just hope you fall in love with it the way I did. I hope you just love it. And I go, I know you guys think I'm crazy. I know it sounds crazy. Why would you come back for a third time? But I'm like, I just hope you guys love it.
It feels right.
And yeah, by a week in on that second program, one of the girls, or not even a week, I think it was like 3 days, one of the girls pulled me aside and she's like, Camille, I have to apologize to you, because I did think you're crazy. When I found out that you're here for a third time, I literally thought you're crazy, but I get it. And I'm sorry. And I get it. So yeah, the castle has a way of just taking your breath away and taking your entire heart with it. So, and then there is bringing your luggage in.
Yes.
Which is
probably
one of the worst experiences.
It's not
one of the worst parts about arriving.
Yeah, it's definitely an experience. So you get in and there's cobblestone, like the doors open in the castle and there's cobblestone everywhere. And you're like,
all the way up.
Okay, cool. So you're dragging your luggage in and it's so loud. I think our professor took a video of us like all dragging our suitcases in, and she's like, you guys sounded like a bunch of horses.
Yeah, maybe we
can
include that and we can cut that in right now.
Yes.
Okay, what did you guys think? Did you see how loud
it sounds
was?
like horses.
Yeah, so that video, if we were able to include it, was shot from the Barbican from the Professor's Suites from our first arrival. And which, you can tell, again, it sounds like that all the way up.
Yanking our suitcases and they're getting stuck and flopping over.
Honestly, you're scared that the wheels are going to break off. Yeah. I mean, it's so violent. I can't believe that they didn't.
Yeah.
My suitcase was pretty old at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Because I had borrowed mine, and mine was also like, just make it through, please hold it through until the end.
God, just make it through, at least up this path.
Yeah,
you know, so then you get into
the entryway,
which was the old mail room.
Yes, at least for when we were over there,
reception.
The reception.
Yeah, we started calling it reception.
Yeah, so you'll walk in, and Wade will then give you your room assignments. I was in Lions Tower.
Yeah, we were both in Lions Tower. Yes. I had requested to be in Lions Tower because I was in Lions Tower in 2019. Yeah. That was the area I was most familiar with. And again, my mom had lived in Lions Tower when she was there. My aunt had been in Diana, in the Diana wing, which is no longer open. It's now faculty offices.
Yeah.
So it's a different space now. But so yeah, I wanted to be back in Lions Tower, and we were.
I was directly in the tower.
You were the tower. Yeah, Holly had the tower room, which we will talk about in another episode.
Yes, I love that room. Yes. But you'll haul up your suitcase up all of those stairs. At least for us, I think we buddy carried. Like carried turns. We took turns.
We took my stuff up, and then we went back for your stuff.
And carried one end and the other, just so we didn't have to.
Well, especially in your steps.
Yes. And the tower obviously has it's up in a tower.
Yeah,
so
it's a literal tower.
You have another set of staircase to go up.
Yep.
So we tag teamed that because that was an adventure.
We got it.
Yeah, we got it. And then Wade tells you you have an hour after you get your room assignment, and he says you have an hour.
Or however set of time.
Or however long, do not fall asleep because we will come find. We will come hunt you down and wake you up. So I know for me, I got my stuff into my room and then I went and showered immediately because I was I just need to get the airport off of me. And I think a lot of the girls in our wing showered right away. Everyone was running through as fast as they could because we all just felt gross.
Yeah, and you do. It's 24 hours of travel. Yeah. I showered, took off my makeup, and then reapplied my makeup because at that point it's dry and greasy at the same time, which is just not fun. I'm I just need it off of me.
Yeah.
Ew.
And then
and then I think we met back up.
I might have unpacked a little bit. Yeah. Just taken some stuff out. And then...
Well, I couldn't remember what time we're supposed to meet. And so I was paranoid.
Yeah.
I had forgotten. And then I think we just went and waited in
the classroom.
In classroom B?
I think so, yeah.
I think that one is B.
The one downstairs.
Yeah, well, on the main level.
On the main level,
which, there's no A anymore anyway, unless they rename them. But, and then you meet in your designated meeting spot. And you get kind of orientation, castle ground rules, you kind of get to know the space a little bit.
Yep. Do a little bit of a castle tour.
Yep.
And I know before we could start the meeting, someone had fallen asleep.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, if I'm remembering right, I could be wrong. I know that one instance, someone had fallen asleep and I had to go, I went and had to knock on their door and be like, hey, we're starting the meeting. You need to get up. I'm sorry, but it's time to get up now.
Right, yeah, because if you fall asleep, you will just continue sleeping and you'll miss it. But that's another part of the first day, and that's something that we both agreed was extremely important for your
both
first
of
day,
us.
Was staying very strict about your sleeping schedule for at least the first week.
Honestly, I think the first 2 weeks to really get it set in, firm.
Yeah. It's the first week is just the jet lag. The second week is
keeping up the routine.
Keeping up with the routine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wade had told us not to go to bed until 8:30. Absolutely 100% do not, no matter how tired you were. I was deliriously exhausted.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to go to bed so bad.
I was so tired. Well, I was so
too awake.
I was too awake, but also so tired because I think this was the first day. I don't even think we'd slept yet. I couldn't find my room. I don't know where I was in the castle, and I was so lost. Well, I got so lost.
I was looking through our memories. You got stuck in the bathroom. Do you remember that? Yeah.
No, that wasn't the first day. Was it the first day? I know one of the bathrooms had gotten stuck on me.
Yeah.
It's an old castle. It happens, and I had gotten stuck.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do anything because it's a pull door from the inside. And so you had to like push on it.
I had to like fully like
let me out. So that's just, it's just part of castle life.
Yeah. Which we'll get in again.
Hopefully our next
episode will be castle living, because I think that's a topic that we're very excited about.
Yes, I love
that. But that was when again, going back to sleep schedule, we were very strict on that.
Yes.
We found that students who did not stay strict on it often never
really
adjusted
struggled.
Struggled. Granted, no matter how strict you are on your sleep schedule, that first week
is going to be hard.
Everyone. I mean, we were very strict about going to bed at 9:30, and I know I was still bobbing.
Well, and I know
and stuff.
For me, that first week was hard because I would wake up and it would be, I'd fall asleep for like 2-3 hours, and then it'd be midnight, and I'd be like wide awake and ready to go. And one of the rules I implemented for myself was like, it doesn't matter how awake you are, you have to at least stay in your bed until 6.
Yep.
Because you need to at least like associate this time with sleeping. So I didn't go on my phone, and I just sat and stared at the wall, which was very boring, but that's how it had to be for me.
That's how. Well, and that's the thing, like again, you've been awake for so long, you start to, you get like energy rushes, but then you're also like so tired, and it's just like, it's like a weird battle inside. But you will develop your own schedule again for at least the first 2 weeks. There's a difference in not being able to fall asleep and deciding to stay up. If you're not able to fall asleep, that's a problem. If you're, deciding to stay awake for a couple more hours, that's different. But that sleep schedule does affect a lot, and just, how much energy you have during the day. And granted, you can always sleep on the bus, and I think we did a lot.
I did. I needed to.
On like every bus and every train, and
I was asleep.
You just can't help it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are some things that you'll discover on your first day. Some things to be excited for or watch out for.
Yeah.
But we're excited to continue this series with you.
Yes.
Excited to continue and share our stories and hopefully help you
get there
and get excited and answer some of your questions. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Bye.